One of the things that I think we can all agree on, for those of us who decided to invest in the Osmo Pocket 3, is that the video quality is exceptional for such a small camera. Even though it's a 1-inch sensor, it's got great low light performance. The imagery overall is just stellar. Our camera, I just took it out today to do some vlogging with it, and I just held the camera out, and it was great. It's so light, and you can get hours and hours of video recorded through the extended battery. Anyway, it's a great camera. One of the things it does suffer from, though, and I think we can all agree on as well, is the fact that the audio quality is not that great. Now, you have solutions. You can use the DJI wireless mic. If you have, and I tested this today, if you have the, I was using the original DJI Mic 1 today, in addition to the wireless mic, so I was able to wire up 3 people when we were walking around today. That was all great. But yesterday I found myself in a little bit of an interesting scenario. I was in a big group event, and I was struggling to get good audio. I couldn't wire up all these guys. There were a bunch of radio personalities, and it was really difficult to get any kind of decent audio, because then you had a huge crowd with at least a couple hundred people that were cheering on the radio guys who were up on a stage. So long story short, the audio quality, I'm having to go through and process it, and it just detracts from the editing process and makes me not want to do it, because I'm the kind of guy, probably like you, especially if you have one of these Osmos, is you want to record it, hook it up to your computer, maybe do some very light editing, and then boom, off to wherever you're publishing your content to. So I thought there's got to be a better way, and of course I've been looking online, and you can hook up like Rode's mics, they're shotgun mics, the Rode NTG, also the Video Mic Plus. There's a whole list of solutions available right now, and people are using them, which is great. But what if you have a really good XLR microphone? The kind that has the 3 little prongs like one of my shotgun mics here on the back, right? You have no way to really connect this to the Pocket 3, or do you? Turns out you do. And I didn't really see anything about this online, which kind of surprised me. Nobody's tried it yet, given that the Pocket 3 has been out for as long as it has, which is what, several months now. It's October, so it's probably about 6 months. Anyway, the answer is this little guy. This is the Shure MVX2U, and this is a USB audio interface for basically any XLR microphone, which means you can hook this guy up to an XLR mic, and then it has USB-C. You can see right out the back there. I'm not sure if the focus is that great, but it has USB-C and an audio monitor jack, so you can listen to the audio as it's coming through in real time, and it works great. There's only one little trick requirement, and I'm assuming that if you have a Pocket 3, you also have some sort of way to download the content to it so that you can publish it. And so in my case, if I wanted to make some changes to the way this audio interface works, the really cool thing about it is that it stores the settings that you set up on your Mac, or I guess on your PC too, and it's really cool. So I'm gonna flip this camera around, and I've got the Shure Motive app on, and I'm gonna hook up this little guy. So let's go ahead and flip it around, and I'm just looking at my MacBook here. You can see the this is the Shure Motive app, and I'm gonna take this is the MVX2U, and it's off to the side here. I'm just going to plug it into one of the USB-C ports on my Mac. And what will happen is the window will populate now with all the settings. Now, I never use, there's an auto level settings here, which you can use it, it's fine. It's kind of like a easy mode versus advanced mode. And chances are, if you're using an XLR mic, you're probably going to be using manual mode or advanced mode anyway. But it's totally up to you. You see there's presets here. You could save up your presets if you wanted to. But I'm going to go to manual here. And what a manual allows me to do, first of all, the microphone that I'm going to hook up here does require phantom power. So there is a phantom power switch. Turn that on, and I'll have phantom power. And then my mic gain. So this, obviously, if you turn on mic mute, that's kind of silly because then the mic won't pick up anything. So you leave that off. And then you set your mic gain to whatever level is acceptable for you. Now, this is something you might have to play with a little bit. I am actually going to hook up my trusty Electro Voice RE20 to this MVX2U, and I believe it does really well around the 40 to 50 range, but I'm going to keep it on the low range just for now so I don't blow out the microphone or the audio when I hook it up. Monitor mix, this you don't really need to worry about this. This is for your what you would get if you're listening to the audio out from your Osmo 3 through the monitor in on the MVX2U, so we're just going to leave that alone. You have your EQ settings here, so you can turn it off and you'll have a flat signal. Notice that I've boosted, I brought up my different, so this is the down at the 100 hertz, and I've got 250, then 1K, so these are my vocal ranges, and this is the high range. And I try to keep this area around like this, but everybody's voice is going to be different, so just play with it as you want to. The high-pass filter will get rid of some of the hums that you may encounter. If you encounter any, I don't mess around with the high-pass filter, but that's something that you can do at 75 hertz, and a cutoff also at 150. A limiter, and the limiter, if you turn that on, it'll prevent the mic essentially from getting blown out. It's kind of 32-bit float, but look, if you're hooking up an XLR microphone, chances are you already know the limits of your mics, and you know that you shouldn't be redlining your mics anyway, so that's all about a distance from your audio source kind of thing. So I'm going to leave that off. And then compressor here, off, light, medium, heavy. I like to compress it down to heavy. That's just a personal preference. But again, this is something that you can play around with. And you'll notice that if I were to go into, I'm going to set this up, let's see here, up at the top, and we'll just call this, we'll save this as custom preset 1. And then I will go to auto level, and then if I say the mic's going to be near, and the tone I want it to be dark, and the gain to be normal, and my phantom power's on. So what'll happen is if I go into my manual settings here, you'll see that it's not really done anything, it's not messed with anything, so you can switch back and forth between these two. And again, the point being that you can save your presets and you can bring them up whenever you want. So here I am again, face tracking, thank you. And so now what I'm going to do is I have my Electro Voice, it's right here, RE20 right here. See, it's right here. And so you've been listening to me through the microphones that are built into the the Osmo Pocket 3. And so I'm going to disconnect my MVX2U. I'm going to plug this in to the base of my Electro Voice. And I need to move it a little bit closer because this is a short cable, but pop this in. And now what you have is my voice through the EV-R20. And notice the difference. It's pretty shocking how good it sounds. And all I did was I hooked in the MVX2U to my studio mic. This is what I do most of my recordings on when I'm doing a podcasting. So this is pretty wild when you think about it. Now, would you use this out in the field? Like I said, I've got this guy, and I tested it with this particular handle on the mic, and there's just, when you're moving around, you're bouncing around with the motion of the Pocket 3, you pick up a lot of noise. These are super sensitive mics, these shotgun mics. So I don't know how practical they are in the field, given that there are so many other alternatives out there. Like I was mentioning before, the Rode mics. I wanted to give the Sennheiser MKH50 a try. Wouldn't everybody? Because it's a $1,200 mic. But I'd love to give that one a try, because I think that would match kind of the form of what it is to have a Pocket 3, where we want portability. So in the studio, this works great, right? I'm inside my studio. I've got my microphone right here, and it sounds really awesome. But if I were to take this on the road, would I record this way? Yeah. If I'm stationary, sure. But if I'm walking around, no, this is not practical at all. So most of the mics that are out there that are designed for on-camera usage, which is what this would be, have an 1/8 inch out, or they'll have a digital interface like USB-C. And Rode, I don't know why you're still using USB micro on some of your mics. That's just, come on, get with the times, convert it over to USB-C across the board. That would make everybody's life a little bit better, instead of having to buy all these silly adapters. So there already are interfaces that exist for traveling with a shotgun mic. And of course, some of the nicer mics that Sony produces, like the ECM B1M, it's really awesome, and it has great pickup patterns with the condensers mics that are on there. But the problem is it's a hot shoe mount, and there's no way to do that on the Osmo Pocket 3. So this is the solution for now. But again, if I'm recording in the studio and I'm not on my FX30 or on some other camera in the studio, this is perfect. This is actually great. I haven't really tested the battery life since it is delivering phantom power. I'm curious as to how long it would last, but because I'm using the battery extension, maybe it would be okay for a while. Certainly not as long as it would be for an external powered microphone. But if you're in studio, then does it really matter anyway? You just swap out the batteries if you really need to, right? So yeah, there's a practicality versus again, going back to the wireless mic solution, it works. It totally works. It's just that for me, managing multiples of these, especially if you have a bunch of guests that you're trying to interview, having a bunch of these around, it's kind of a pain in the butt. And since the Osmo Pocket 3 only handles 2 wireless mics at a time, then my guess is it handles 2 wireless mics at a time. But if I hook up the receiver from the one from the DJI Mic 1. I wonder, I haven't tested this yet, but I know that the receiver plus one Bluetooth transmitter of the two works great. I don't know if I could add another one. I don't have another one right now to test it with, but regardless, it's something to think about. You know, this is it's such a great camera, and I'm using the black mist filter on here right now, and so it kind of gives it a nice little glow, especially that light behind me there. But and it's got all the ND filters, and there's an anamorphic lens coming out for it really soon. So there's going to be a lot of practical uses for this camera above and beyond what it was to launch with the lenses that it had. And it's so portable, it's so easy. This makes it not so portable and not so easy. And so does this. So if there is, like, the Sennheiser is a much smaller microphone. That's why I'm thinking that's something that I'd be interested in. I just don't have an extra $1,200 rolling around somewhere for me to even try it out to see if it's viable. Although, Tom Buck, if you're watching this for any reason, if you want to maybe send yours up my way to test, I don't know, but I would love to, be able to test one just to see what the audio quality is. But regardless, it works great. So, Shure MVX2U microphone of choice. Again, for me, it's the Electro Voice RE20. And this is a studio mic that's been around since 1967, 68, somewhere around there. Most of the big broadcasters use it, and I love the sound. I love it immensely. So, and this is my go-to mic now. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the chat, and then I'll also put, of course, the affiliate links to the microphone and the MVX2U. So if you're interested in picking those up and supporting my channel a little bit, that would be awesome. If not, that's fine. You use this for information, and good luck. Good luck in your journey with the Pocket 3. And if you're going to go with XLR, it's going to be a good time. All right, take care. Thanks for watching.
Bruh.